In July 2025, Pew Research Center conducted a study on the use of social media and found that currently 90% of teenagers are on social media, with notable or most popular apps being YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. The use of social media ranges from people of all ages, but primarily your teenagers, or as we are today. Today, I want to aim towards the thought that social media is overall worse for us as the rising generation and for our future. Of course, social media does not only have one effect on the human body or ourselves, rather it has multiple, with the effects I want to discuss to you about today regarding your brain, your relationships, your mental health, and even your academic success, with many, many more effects, but we will get to those today. Starting off with what most, if not all of you guys are able to relate to, your academic success, as we are all students in here. In 2024, University of Delaware professor Melissa Gordon looked and analyzed 1,459 middle school students to see how their social media usage corresponded with their academic success. And this is what she found. Melissa Gordon found in this study that the students who had higher use of social media ultimately had lower grades than those who had used less social media throughout their day-to-day life, as they had higher grades. There wasn't exactly one point where she could pinpoint why these students' grades were dropping. Rather, there were multiple key areas, with notable ones being a decreased attention span, procrastination, even memory retention. When it comes to myself and my academic success with social media, I've noticed a decline with notable areas, including a decrease in attention span, making it harder for me to pay attention for longer assignments, in which I have a loss of motivation for different assignments, whether it be long or even short assignments. And lastly, a loss of interest of topics that I once had a great desire in, when now I just don't have one anymore. Next up, we have the effects regarding in individual relationships, with what all of you guys can relate to in here, with all of you having a relationship in your life, whether it be a family member, a friend, a relationship in a romantic way or not, or anything else. One of the biggest effects we see up front from social media and relationships is the loss of face-to-face interactions. One of the most popular apps that we can see on this is Snapchat. Snapchat makes it nice and easy to send a quick little text message, or even a quick long or even short video, and even a nice quick picture. With the effects regarding relationships, the loss of face-to-face interaction isn't the only one, but the loss of face-to-face interactions is crucial because it can lead to many, many late nights among teenagers. And for teenagers who have less sleep at night, it can ultimately affect their well-being, with headaches happening, a decrease in the attitude, a decrease in memory, and even a slower reaction time among themselves. As for effects regarding relationships, there are many, many more we can see. In a study in June 2016, Jacqueline Nessie, a doctoral student of psychology at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, did a study on 487 adolescents and their romantic partners to see how well adolescents who had communicated the majority of the time online had resolved problems rather than those individuals who had communicated in person and not so much online. And this is what she found. She found that for the individuals who had communicated less online, had less arguments among themselves, along with easier time resolving these problems, rather than those who had spent more time chatting online, had a harder time resolving their problems, and also more arguments among those individuals. Looking at our next problem, we have the effects regarding teenagers' mental health. According to UCLA Health, it says that teens are significantly more vulnerable to the effects of social media on the mental health, as this is a primary stage in the youth growing and for their future. When it comes to the effect social media has, it involves consequences on the mental health involving things like depression, anxiety, a poor body image, and even cyberbullying among some individuals. The regular practice of social media and these things for 2 to 3 hours, if not or more, can more than double your chances of falling under one of these categories. While we may not see everybody fall under these specific categories, there are many more categories involving the use of social media, along with the tragedy of an increased rate of suicide. In 2021, BYU did a study on teenage girls to see how their use of social media would impact their well-being, and they found that for the teenage girls who had spent 2 to 3 hours on social media per day had a higher suicide rate than young single adult women, which is an absolute tragedy. And with this, one of the most common reasons why is they saw these young teenage girls participating in different challenges such as the popular Snapchat Blue Whale Challenge, where it encouraged young teenagers to participate in unhealthy behaviors such as cutting and even burning themselves. In this study, they also found that girls tended to post more personal and more self-well-being videos content to them, caring more about it, with guys being on the other hand posting more humorous videos, having a wider target audience and not caring about what others thought. The final problem I'd like to discuss to you is the effects that we commonly see on the individual's brain. One of the biggest things that social media can do is give us dopamine rushes. While dopamine may not seem bad up front or as itself, it is important to take it into moderation, as when we don't take it in moderation, it can often lead to such addiction to wanting a dopamine rush and even craving for more. Some things that we can see that commonly give us dopamine rushes on social media is endless scrolling, whether it be for minutes or even hours, as it is easy to get lost, new followers, new comments, and shares. And we've also seen that in the medial prefrontal cortex, it can trigger ourselves to others, as that is where the comparison happens. According to the Reach Institute, in May 2025, 46% of teens on social media have compared themselves to others, whether it is among their self-image or anything else. In conclusion, social media has grown to be a part of most teenagers' everyday life, and it is just important to be aware on the effects that it is bringing, and how we discussed the effects that it can have on your academic success, to your mental well-being, to even your brain development is research has ultimately shown that the negative effects of social media outweigh the positive effects that it brings, ultimately wanting us to have a desire to want to get better. And I want to leave you with the question on asking yourselves, how can we become more aware of the effects that social media has on us, and how can we do better? Thank you.